In middle school, I almost failed school because of English. Why?
Yeah, that's if you're an English learner, like there are not really any
why here is like
rules.
this and here is like this? And they're like, because it is. There's so many things that I had no idea. Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay, let me ask you something. How many languages can you speak?
I can speak 4 languages.
Which are?
English, Korean, Japanese, Spanish.
How many languages can you speak?
5.
Which are?
German, Hungarian, English, Korean, and Spanish.
I can speak 4 plus 2 small ones.
Which are?
Indonesian, English, German, Korean, and a little bit of Chinese and Japanese. What about you?
I can speak 4 languages and a small one. Which are Portuguese, Spanish, English, Korean, and a little bit of Japanese. How did you learn your languages again?
School and in Korea.
For me too, like I'm a mixed child, so born with 2 languages basically, then school, and yeah.
In my case, I learned Spanish in school, English in the kind of language school, and then Korean. Korean, in a way, first at some point in the language school as well. Then most of it was on my own, and Japanese on my own, fully.
How many Duolingo languages do we speak?
Oh wait, no, that's too much. Yeah, Duolingo languages plus 20 and go up. Beyond and above. Do you think your own language is hard to learn?
I might be biased, but I would say no.
I know your language is easy. I think your language is like one of the easiest languages to learn because like there's no grammar, almost.
Exactly.
It's so simple. It's
Like I have a friend and he told me that you don't have a past tense.
or
No,
future tense.
or future. We don't
So I
have
was like-
tenses.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, you just add the time word and then you just say the same verb. So if you can make it simple, why make it hard? But there are some hard points. Like I googled to see like what actual Indonesian learners say about learning Indonesian, but we're gonna share that later. Do you think German is hard?
I think so, yeah. Like I think if I would not be a German native speaker, I would not learn German, to be honest. Like at least like, I mean, of course there are like languages that have more cases than German, but I feel like the cases and also like the article kind of stuff, then the compound words that you just like make words like unnecessary long, you know, like I feel like that can be hard. I think it's not like one of the hardest languages, but I think it's hard to learn, especially if it's like not in your language group.
I've heard many people say online that German is very hard. But that past tense is really hard to learn.
Yeah, like we have so many like past tenses. Like I had to learn them as well in school, but like you don't use them. You know, it's like really like for old books maybe that you read, but like I never write any of those books. Like so, like it's really you don't need them. Like
if you don't learn them, you can still.
yeah, you can still understand like with the normal past tense, but like they make you learn everything just like probably in case.
I mean, language-wise, I get it. What about English? Do you think English is
you
easy?
guys can speak better than me on what is hard to learn about English. You guys all learned it, so. But I think, I don't know, everybody says have PP is hard, have had is hard to learn. I don't know.
Well, I think English, grammar-wise, is a very easy language.
Okay.
Pronunciation-wise, not so much.
We like the up and downs. Like
Yeah.
But I think it also depends on what language you have as a native language. For
Depending on the
example,
point of
a Japanese person learning English, it's
They
a
would
complete
think,
different
yeah.
world and different level of difficulty as
No, but Brazilians have a hard time. Like I know, I'm good at mimicry, but aside
German,
from that,
let's say.
I think for Germans it would be easier maybe to learn English. I don't know.
For Germans, it's probably easy to learn English. Like, and we learn at a pretty young age. We learn in like elementary school. We start with learning English, or some people even before elementary school. So I feel like almost everyone is like native. Like not everyone, of course, not everyone. I feel like a lot of people I know could be like fluent level. They are pretty good, or like intermediate at least.
They have
Like I
no
know people
problem.
who don't know
Yeah.
English as well, but like I feel like I know more people that do English don't know English.
I feel like for you guys it would be easier to learn than like for us in a way because like both are Anglo-Saxon languages, so like they kind of come from the same roots. They're like similar vocabulary, similar grammar structures. There's stuff that are much more similar than Portuguese, for example, as a Romance language to English. There's so many things that I had no idea. For you to figure it out, for you to imagine, when I was in middle school, I almost failed school because of English.
Really?
Really, like I really almost failed the grade because of English. I was like this close. Whoa, I hated English so bad, and that like to a point that my mom was like, "You need English." I know I don't know English either, but you need English. So you're going to a language school. Go.
Yeah.
Do you think Portuguese is hard to learn?
Absolutely.
I've
I
heard
know
that,
Portuguese
yeah.
is a hard language to learn. A lot of people tell me that, especially because like before I used to think it was not. It depends, of course, in which country you're from, but still for Romance language speakers, it's hard. We have a lot of conjugations. We have way too many sometimes, like things that people don't know why we have it, and we use it like in situational in Portuguese that it's definitely not easy.
I heard the pronunciation seems hard. I don't know, it looks hard.
Depends on which Portuguese you're learning. So the thing is, like, grammar and vocabulary-wise, overall, it's pretty much the same, like Portuguese from Brazil and Portugal. Of course, there are some differences, especially in vocabulary, but pronunciation is completely different, like very different. And in Brazil, we have way too many dialects, so way too many words and accents and things that you're never gonna hear in the other state. So that's what is tough.
But I feel like especially like the dialects, like even in Germany, we have so many, like depending on the part where you live, we have so many dialects. So where I'm from actually, or the like state next to mine, like if people from our state like show up on TV, we have subtitles because like the people from the north cannot understand us.
Are you from Bayern?
I'm from Baden-Württemberg.
Oh, that's not
But
so
I'm from
bad.
the Schwäbisch part, so I'm like from south.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
I'm
a,
still
like a
pretty
different
south.
language.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like I don't really have a dialect. I don't, but like I'm from the south. For you to know, I'm from South Germany, and I feel like I don't have a hard dialect compared to other people from my region. But when I see like some of my friends, yeah, like I guess why they have subtitles.
What is the hardest thing when you study a new language? What do you think? I think it depends on the language, but
I think this is my most recent problem with Korean, or also with German at the time. It's when you hit the language learning plateau.
yes, you feel like there's nothing more to learn.
So in the beginning, when you learn a language, it might be hard, but everything is new. You're excited. You have so much motivation. You learn so quickly, and up to an intermediate to advanced
get, like,
level,
this.
you just kind of stop learning, and you feel frustrated. You get tired of studying, and I am at that state right now with Korean.
The thing is, like, you think you know, I mean, technically you do know a lot. You can talk and have the certain
But
level
you
of-
realize more of what you don't know.
Yes, and at
that's
the same time,
problem.
you don't know how to learn what you don't know because
It's like you already know what you need to know, but how do you grow what you don't know?
Yes,
so
yes,
that
yes,
that
yes, yes,
plateau,
yes, yes.
and a lot of people quit learning language because they can't
that
get out of
moment.
that plateau.
Yes.
You can't go to the advanced level yet, and you're not quite there. Too many things you don't know. You're just like in this middle.
And it's like you're not learning as fast. You need to learn twice as hard to even learn new things because you already know a lot.
Yeah.
But you still need to know more.
Oh, wait, so what are the languages we have on the table again? We have English, I
feel like we need to
Japanese.
write it
We need to
down.
write it down. We have way too many. So there's Japanese, English, Spanish,
Korean,
Portuguese, Korean, German, Indonesian, Hungarian.
Chinese?
Chinese.
Oh, Chinese.
So what is hard about learning English?
Or easy.
What is easy? I think the easy part is because there's so much media in English in the world. You're
Eventually
immersed,
consume
kind
it.
of. Yeah, you consume
From
it
a
at
young
some
age,
point.
and also the signs everywhere in Korea and other countries as well.
It's basically like I wouldn't say it's a global language, but it's a globally used language.
Yeah. I think we consume, even like from our very young age, like when we consume like Disney and stuff like this, I feel like that's the easiest
Like
thing.
just listening to music or like most art, like I mean, not most, but like a lot
If
of
you're
artists.
listening to
that,
Korean,
like,
American,
yeah.
But what pronunciation-wise?
Is it easy?
Well,
I mean, it depends on the country, but
It depends on your native
I feel like
language.
for German or like Germanic language speakers, it would be easy. Easier than other
I feel like
languages.
for Romance languages, for Romance languages, it's not easy.
I think it's hard because it doesn't follow the rules in the word when you're
Yeah,
reading it.
that's
There's a
true.
different way to pronounce it.
Though tough, throughout, through, why?
Yeah, that's true. It's like I grew up learning English, so I never realized. Like I just when I see the word, I just know that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
But if you're an English learner, like there are not
You're like,
really
well,
any
why here
set
is like
rules.
this and here is like this? And they're like, because it is.
We're gonna spell it the same way.
Like a lot of kids already asked me before, like, why read and read are spelled the same way? And like, how do I know it's read or read? Like, other than context, I'm like, you don't. It's the
you just
same.
guess. Yeah.
I mean, context. If you don't have a context, you don't know.
Oh.
We're gonna rank here, you mean? Oh, okay.
So where would we put English?
I would say
Easiest.
it's easiest.
I think,
yeah,
no, but
No.
Indonesian. I would put like,
Okay, two.
Like this is hardest, okay?
I think English we can put. We can put like
Somewhere in the
down.
somewhere on
Somewhere
the easy
down.
We've all learned it, so
Good. Okay, the hardest part about Portuguese, as I mentioned, Brazilian Portuguese, you have a lot of intonations. So like when you're not speaking it's not like tones, like Chinese tones. Like if you say in a different way, it's gonna sound like another word. Only specific words, they have that. Depending on how you pronounce it, you're gonna pronounce the word no, but like the whole sentence, it's gonna sound like a question, or like an answer, or like you're angry, or like you're sad.
So like the context depends on the intonation.
Yes. yes. Depends on the intonation. So for example, I can say like, oi, como você tá? I can say, oi, como você tá? Oi, como você tá? One of them is gonna sound like I'm confused. I'm not sure if I'm stepping on a danger zone because I'm curious on how you are, but I think you're not okay. The other one sounds like I'm angry and I'm asking you because I have to. The other one sounds like I'm super like fine.
What does it mean?
Hi, how are you?
Oh, that's just how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Is it different than other languages? Because don't all languages have tone?
Technically, but we
Yeah.
are very intense. So much that like people who are like either understand Portuguese or can see the comparison on Portuguese from Portugal and from Brazil, they tend to say that like we Brazilians sing. So like when we're talking, we sing because we go like very up and down. Another thing is that we have genders for everything, every single thing, every substitute.
How many genders?
Two, only two.
Yeah, but German is the neutral gender.
Yeah.
That's why.
So for example, a bottle of water, it's female. A table is female. And then you're like,
That is
why?
Why is that a
I
male?
don't know.
Oh yeah, you just have to learn it.
There's no rule. So like, yeah, another thing, we have a lot of signs, like hand signs, as I said. As we're talking, we use it a lot. For example, I almost, you're like, what? What does that mean? Remember, like I almost remembered. And you'll be like, oh, if you don't know that, you're not gonna get the context. Sometimes we just don't say it. Or if I get into a crowded place, it happens a lot of times where like, I'm just gonna look at my friends and be like, and we're gonna leave. That means it's too crowded.
Very specific.
I know, right? So like that's the hard part about like Portuguese. Not only like the like gestures we use, also the intonation we use, the genders for everything, and the grammar. We have also I think 15 tenses. 15, 16 tenses. It's a lot, and we use them. It's not like things that
15 tenses?
we have a lot.
Like future, past, and then
Perfect past and like perfect and imperfect, perfect of imperfect past. So that makes it very hard. Pronunciation wise also like, because there's so many ways you can say the exact same thing in Brazil. For example, if I say door in my city, I would say porta. Some places in São Paulo would say porta. Some places in Rio would say porta. You know, they're gonna have like other ways of saying the same thing and you'll be like, huh? Now, the easiest thing in Portuguese is that we're very chill. Like we can understand what you're saying with like few things.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so like if you say two words, we get what you mean.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. Like even if you say like in a wrong intonation or something, we might at most like confuse like how you're feeling when you deliver the message. Don't worry, when you deliver the message, but what you're trying to say, we're gonna get it.
I thought Americans were good at that, but from what I've heard, people in America, they're not good at that at all. Yeah.
That's you. That's you. You're good at that.
I don't know, like the way you make it sound, it doesn't sound so hard.
Great.
But maybe because
great.
you're a native speaker.
I think I didn't used to think that Portuguese was that hard until I started teaching Portuguese to people. And like I had some students and they were struggling hard on so many things. They were like, why? Why do you guys make it so hard? I'm like, yeah, we do. Or they asked me like, but why is it like that? And then I realized, I don't know, it's always been like that. So where's in ranking Portuguese girls?
Higher than English, but not that.
Maybe for now, just like in the middle, because I feel like Spanish and like Korean would still
I would
be
say Spanish
easier
is easier
than
than Portuguese.
Yeah.
So let me put like,
Higher middle, yeah. Oh, higher middle.
like I think Spanish is easier than Portuguese.
Yeah.
Even Spanish speakers say, because the thing is like when Brazilians, we speaking, the thing is like we Brazilians, we can understand Spanish speaking people, but most of the time is they don't understand us. So like for us, their language is much easier. They have less than we do. Indonesian, first easiest one.
But hear me out.
Go ahead.
So I think formally to learn it, it's easy, but there is such a big difference between what you learn like formally in Indonesian and what you hear in conversational, like day-to-day Indonesian, because we not only have local dialects, we have local languages, over 700 local languages, and Bahasa Indonesia, our like official language, isn't actually a lot of people's first language, it's their second. So you do use it in a school or office setting, but even then you would also put in your local language with Indonesian.
How
And so-
different are they from each other?
Very.
completely different languages. And so if you go to another city, it's to the level where I don't understand anything they're saying. It's that different. Yeah, and depending on each city you go to, they mix in different things. So that might be the hard part, and we have so many slangs. I feel like the Indonesian daily language is growing so much. We have so many new words. For language learners, they say the affixes, the prefix, and the suffix are the hard part, because as we mentioned, grammatically, grammar doesn't really exist. We don't change words for tenses. We don't have female, we don't have genders. But for example, we have one root word and you put a prefix and a suffix, it becomes a noun, or it becomes a verb, or it becomes a passive verb. And those prefix and suffixes may be hard to memorize because there are a lot of them. At the same time, once you learn them formally, you hear them in daily life, people use something completely different. For example, like I'm from Jakarta. So for example, if we say like he did that, like dia, or he's doing that, dia melakukan itu, melakukan. So you add me and an to make it a verb. In daily Indonesian, I would say ngelakuin. So I would put nge and in. Completely different affix, same meaning. Nobody says melakukan in real life. It sounds so like stiff and formal. So people learning Indonesian in a classroom would probably not understand people speaking Indonesian. But also in one sentence in English, you need it complete to make it sound like a good sentence. In Indonesian, you just say eat already, and it's fine. It's not like, have you eaten already? Like you don't have all these stuff. In Portuguese, you just say two words, people can put them together because we also don't say the complete sentence. That's why I think it's easy. Like even if you're not good with the sentences or grammar, people will understand.
Yeah. Você já comeu hoje? Instead, comeu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you, girl.
So where do we put it?
So I would put it
The
as
first, the easiest
I would say
one.
this is the easiest one. To learn, not to master. Like formal Indonesians would fail anyway. Because like we learn Bahasa Indonesia up until high school. And we have the class and Indonesians normally get a bad grade.
Girls. Next language we have is German. German, let's go.
Like I feel like compared to the other languages, we have of course like harder languages, but I feel like it's still harder than like for example Spanish. Maybe.
Absolutely.
I feel like it would also be harder than Korean. Because like Korean, and I get it, because like Korean has honorifics and stuff, but German has that as well. Like German also has honorifics, we have like a lot of cases. And I feel like also because of the genders, it can be hard. And I was teaching German in Korea. I feel like it would be harder. I would maybe put it in the middle.
Like I don't
Then Korean?
because I've learned German and Korean, I would say Korean is harder.
Korean is harder
In terms
for you?
of getting the context and doing the polite forms, German is so much more straightforward.
I do think German is easier than Korean. Like from what I've over like on Duolingo and stuff like that, and like heard from friends of mine, pronunciation-wise would be like the hardest thing for me. Like really pronunciation.
I think you'd be fine. No, I think you'll be fine.
I struggle still these days with the sound.
But it's not that prominent. Even if you don't pronounce it that way, it's fine.
I feel like it depends on how intense you learn it. Like for example, my dad, like he learned German basically when he married my mom, right? So like 20 years ago-ish, I think my dad learned German, and like he still makes mistakes. Like we have like something like, oh, I walk towards you, right? He's basically like saying, oh, I bump into you. Yeah, so like he still makes kind of small, cute mistakes. Like I still get what he means, you know, it's not the problem, but like maybe we can put it like
Above Portuguese?
I would put it above
It's
Portuguese.
harder than Portuguese.
Yeah.
I think
don't know, I haven't
because like
learned.
you have more genders than we do, and I think I'm suspicious to say though. What would you say? Maybe opposite?
I don't know, maybe opposite or like maybe
Like
above or
Portuguese and
underneath,
German?
but definitely above Spanish.
Like around the two.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Spanish is like down here.
It's
somewhere down here.
We can leave it there for
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
Spanish,
yeah, easy. Put it there.
Easy.
Is it easier than English? Though? I think it is.
I think it's easier than English.
But
I'm Brazilian, so I'm suspicious to say. For me, Spanish is much easier than English. But no. Let's be real. Grammatically speaking, harder.
Pronunciation-wise, it's more straightforward than English.
true, but I feel like the R sound.
Yeah, not everybody gets it.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of people cannot do it. But like, it's similar with German's k.
Or even the ny sound.
Yeah.
But it also depends where you're from, because we have those two sounds in Indonesian.
Grammar-wise was not hard for me. It was always compared to the exact same thing in English, and so I could think of it the same way. It didn't seem very hard to me.
You're the best person to say so, because like we're compared to English. I don't know. I think for me English was harder. However, like now being fluent in both, I would say I think Spanish is harder.
Spanish is harder. Okay, let's put
Than
it over
English.
English then.
There's
Under
only space
Portuguese.
there anyway, so.
Yeah, this is the perfect.
But shouldn't it be right up against English? Is there something easier than Spanish?
I don't think so. I think the rest are gonna go up.
Okay, we might have to reset this later. But we're still in doubt about. I would say B. Like I'll go for B. And for me, it's very easy. So like.
Okay, yeah.
I
What
think
about the
grammar,
comments?
it's like B or C.
I think we have a comment, no?
C or D. I put C. No, I put C. It could be harder.
Grammar C.
Japanese.
Japanese.
Probably up there.
Okay, up there.
Up there,
for
yeah.
sure, for sure.
Because also hiragana, katakana, kanji, it's already like
Yeah, you have 2 alphabets.
Three
you have
language.
kanji.
Yeah.
three things already to learn when you just start. So
Like hiragana and
That's
katakana,
the
just to learn,
easy.
it's the easiest
yeah,
part.
but I heard the
part.
kanjis are like
But the
they are
kanji-
taking
problem.
ages.
Yes.
It never ends.
Technically, in Japanese, they do end in a way because like they do learn up to a certain point. Not
Like
like Chinese, like
2000,
everything. Yeah.
But also Chinese
But-
people learn only up to a certain point.
Yeah. But what's hard about the kanji is that like depending on what you put together in a sentence, it's
Can
gonna
change.
sound like something else.
And it can mean something else.
There's 2 readings, isn't there?
More,
Yes.
sometimes more. And I think also culturally there are a lot of politeness forms like
yes.
in Korean.
Yes, just like Korean. Same.
Yeah.
It's tough. Japanese is not easy. Pronunciation wise though, I think is super easy.
yeah.
It's super
But
easy.
we did a telephone game with Japanese people, and if you get the intonation wrong, they're like, huh? Yeah, we did benkyosuru and benkyosuru. They're like, huh? For us, it's completely the same. But the intonation.
Nani kore?
They're like- they really didn't get it. Even if we said the same words, but in a different intonation.
That's disappointing.
But intonation is important.
Intonation is important. Pronunciation though, like the word
Just like the
itself
word itself, yeah. I think it's not that hard.
is exactly the same way it's written.
So pronunciation would be B, I think, because intonation goes into
And
pronunciation.
yeah, of course.
Grammar,
No.
D.
I would still put
C.
grammar. No, grammar D.
Grammar is
D.
similar to Korean. It's very long.
It's there's a lot of options
Yeah.
and like it's not easy. It's hard.
Should we put it at, I don't know, very top? Very.
Non.
And not we have Chinese and Hungarian still.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. But should we put second or third? Like above?
For now, you can just like put it here because I feel like Korean would be underneath it.
I think Korean would be under Japanese because they have an alphabet.
They're also like yeah, they have some things in common.
When it comes to Japanese and Korean, like a lot of people ask me that, like, oh, Julia, do you think Japanese is harder or Korean is harder? It depends on what you're talking about. Because, like, writing, reading in Japanese is harder, but speaking in Korean is harder.
Yeah.
Like, when you're talking, for example, like, depending on the way that you read the Korean, if there's pachim, sometimes the pachim has like a bulguchi, and then it's gonna sound like something completely different. You're like, why? Just because. And, like, you need to know those little things that sometimes you just don't learn. Like, you don't learn the Hanzi to know this stuff. So that makes Korean very hard, but Japanese, kanji.
Yeah.
So
Pronunciation is harder than Japanese.
absolute, all the way. Speaking is much harder for Korean.
Pronunciation is a C.
I would say C or D even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can say it, but you're not saying it right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
true, yeah.
many times you say it, it sounds just right, and if it's like just slightly, they're like,
Yeah.
huh?
They don't understand. Yeah.
Ah, you mean blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then they say the same thing, and you're like,
Or also for the double stuff. For example,
Yes.
manayo and mannayo. Two different words.
oh, but,
It sounds
but in
different
Japanese has the
after
same like
some
the
time.
little
After
tsu.
some time.
Yeah.
Or the A and the O. I struggle with that.
O?
The A and the O because we only have O in Indonesian. So like sometimes I say O as O and they're like, no, it's O. It's like O.
Or like for example the e. Like I mean for German it's okay because like we have the e sound. Yeah. But like in other countries they don't really have it or the or like something. You know, it depends.
And still, I don't think there's like one language that says like, oh no, Korean is easy, so easy. I don't think.
So grading it, I
Grade
think like
time.
of course like pronunciation is like the hardest. I think like
Pronunciation C.
C or D.
Yeah, C or D.
Grammar.
And grammar would be is the same as Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same as Japanese.
Okay. So Korean under Japanese. Just because the kanji difference. Okay. I think it's gonna be on top for me.
I feel like it's hard. Like I know, like my mom tried to learn it, my grandma tried to learn it, and it's like they took courses. Like it's like really hard.
Let's put there.
You know,
yep.
Like they learn it for like 20 years and they can still
Have a hard time.
they
Yeah,
still have
Hungarian.
a really
There you
hard
go.
time. You know.
I do feel like Chinese
Like-
though, if you learn enough, like you can like leave well.
I feel like also because Japanese, Chinese, Korean are in the same family group. If you
Yeah.
know one, you can kind of guess for the others.
Yes, yeah.
But for Hungarian, since it's its own
It's
language,
like it's no other
there's
relationship
no,
to another
you
country.
can't make connections.
I feel like it's pretty hard. Like I mean, if you learn probably consistently, like for a really long time, I think like you get it. Yeah, you are living there. I think like would help to the
Is the
country.
pronunciation hard?
I would say so. Yeah.
Give us a sentence.
I can give you a tongue twister.
Oh no, tongue twister is supposed to be hard. Come on, tongue twister is hard.
sziasztok, a nevem Jessi.
What?
Sziasztok, a nevem Jessi. So like, hi, my name is Jessi, or like, hogy vagy? How are you? Hogy vagy?
Hogy vagy?
Then,
Hogy vagy?
Oh yeah. Okay, pronunciation is hard as well, I think.
Yeah, it sounds hard. But you do speak fast.
like, egy, kettő, három.
Egy, kettő, három. That sounds Greek.
Egy, kettő is like 1, 2.
Egy, kettő. That's so hard. That's so
1,
hard.
2.
So I would say pronunciation is
what
like
opinion
a
you like?
C or D.
C or D.
I feel
Grammar,
like
wouldn't
I
be able
feel
to
like it's hard because like it's not related to anything.
Yeah. Sentence structure-wise, is it similar to anything? Like to English, for example?
Like the thing is like the structure of the sentence it changes. That's why like depending on like vocabulary or like grammar, like how you say something, it can change all the time.
Okay. I think we can put Hungarian
C
as
or
the first
D.
one.
So I think both is probably like C or D. Yeah.
And Chinese?
Chinese is under that, I guess.
Because of tones?
Yes.
And because of no alphabet?
Yes. And also media as well. Like you can consume nowadays a lot of media from China.
China. Oh, true.
Ooh, so that's the final rank, I guess?
Chinese, it has no alphabet, and I think that puts off a lot of people from learning it in the beginning. So I think for Chinese, it's the opposite for other languages. It's the beginning that's the hardest, I think. Pronunciation-wise, you have 4 tones. If you don't know a word, then you can't read the word. Although, if you know similar words, it might sound similar. The nice thing about it is because one character carries so much meaning, the more words you know, you can guess the meaning even if you don't really know that.
Oh yeah, that's
some
true.
Of the
Like,
characters.
yeah.
For example, if there's like a 3 dot thing, like that's for water. So you know anything that has that on the left side, it has something to do with water.
Water. Yeah.
So that's why it's like kind of a pictogram.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. Like when I had my like Chinese exam and I didn't know a word, I'm like, oh, I know that part. Exactly. So like I can kind of guess what it could be.
yeah.
But like if you have 2 multiple choice and they both have the front, and you're like, wait, then which one is the water part?
I mean, I think describing and like choosing which language is the hardest one is so hard in a way because like if I was able to like speak all of them, I would be able to put my point of view on that. Yeah. But as well as that, we have to think that depends on where you come from. Exactly. So for some of us, like some things are gonna like be better on the mouth, and some of them are just gonna be like easier to understand because it's the same to your language or some language that you know. But it's kind of interesting. I'm very surprised, and there's stuff here that I just didn't know about certain languages. So
And I feel like as long as more languages as you know, of course it gets easier to learn another language.
Yeah.
Like you can just like connect
becomes
them
like
with every language you know. Like especially like when I started learning Korean, like I was learning Korean and then I was thinking, oh okay, like that meaning it has a better fitting meaning in German, or like some words have a better meaning fitting word in like another language.
Yes.
You know what
You
I
can
mean?
express yourself
so I'm
better.
Like, because like there is not always like 100% the same thing, but then it's like, oh, like the 느낌 is more here than in this language.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just like now, the kim.
Yeah.
That.
So it's like the more you learn, the more you know how to learn as well.
So today we talked about all the languages that we speak. If you like this video, please like down below, leave your comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye!